I watch Fox Sports 1 all day. I love my guy, Nick Wright. He is Mr. Houston Rockets, so he's having a good day. He does not like the Golden State Warriors, and he's killing the Golden State Warriors trade because they went out and they got Andrew Wiggins for DeAngelo Russell. And Andrew Wiggins is going to make a lot of money over the next 3 years.
Right.
Do you like the trade for the Warriors?
Yes. They didn't have a whole lot of options. But they had hoped that when they got DeAngelo Russell that he was going to absorb the Warriors culture. And
that didn't happen.
And he did not.
Yes.
And so I don't know if Andrew Wiggins will, but you at least get to find out. And you get a first-round pick back. So they salvaged that because they had to give one up in getting DeAngelo in the first place.
And by the way, Cowherd tweeting out pictures on a ski lift right now. So thanks, Colin, for watching the show. I know he's got a well-earned day off. This is interesting. Steve Kerr said this on Andrew Wiggins. Minnesota needed him to be a star. We're not asking him to be a star. We're asking him to play a role on a team that already has some star players. Mm-hmm. Now, that may be hard for Andrew Wiggins to take initially, but this could make his career. Right? I don't like Andrew. It's like what people don't like about Andrew Wiggins that have coached and played with Andrew Wiggins is he's not an alpha. Well, guess what? They have an alpha. They have a beta. You know, the defensive alpha obviously is Draymond. The offensive alpha is Steph Curry. He doesn't have to. And like Colin said, he's basically a Canadian Harrison Barnes. I think he's better than Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, but the question is going to be: does he want to be treated like an alpha? Does he want to be treated like a star? He's not. He doesn't have that DNA to be the leader of your team. But does he want the treatment that comes with being the star? There are plenty of players that are not alphas that don't want to do all the intangible things that are required of a leader, but they want all the perks that come with being a leader. That's the question we don't have. But he also, like, physically having to play three. The opportunity is there for Wiggins to turn this and make this successful. And you never know when a guy gets traded for the first time, like, is that a shock to the system that makes him realize, oh, I got to do something different if I want to make a mark in this league. We will see, but it's worth the gamble for the Warriors to do that because DeAngelo Russell was never going to work with the way he doesn't have the Golden State Warriors DNA.
No, well, first in terms of playing, DeAngelo Russell is a ball screen guy, and when the Warriors are right, they run the fewest number of ball screens of anybody in the NBA.
And if they do, it's going to be with the ball in Steph's hands.
Correct. And then there's the kind of chemical makeup of he wants to be the alpha, right? And he's not a culture guy. Like Brooklyn loved their culture last year, and they let him walk out the door. What does that tell you?
100%. And they sat him in the fourth quarter in a lot of games.
Spencer Dinwiddie is not as prolific a scorer, may not have the nights of 50 points, but they like Spencer Dinwiddie better, and Spencer Dinwiddie makes less money. That should be pointed out. I agree. Again, we do this all the time. We have these imaginary scenarios of what the Warriors should have done.
Yeah.
There aren't that many options of guys you can get to be a third scorer and to buy in, and guys that can sacrifice their ego. We don't know if it's a perfect fit, but if I told you that next year they'll have Steph, who's fresh, rested, right? Mm-hmm. They'll have Clay, who's fresh, rested, although coming off a knee. They'll have Draymond. They'll have Andrew Wiggins, and then you got Eric Pascal, you got Kevon Looney, and then whatever they do with the number one pick or next year's number one pick with Minnesota, like they'll probably get a plethora of a couple veteran players to go with it.
Right.
Like, the Warriors are back. Sorry.
No, wait, whoa. They'll be a good team. They will be a good team. Are they going to be a contending team?
Yes.
No, they're not going to be a contending team.
They have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and Andrew Wiggins.
Okay,
they're not going to be contending
number one,
team?
we need to see all three of those guys back and what they are when they get back.
Okay, look.
The second part is we're immediately elevating Eric Pascal and Andrew Wiggins into guys that are going to be primary rotation players on a contending team.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I haven't even seen them in the playoffs. I've seen neither one of those guys in a single playoff game, much less under the game 5, a game 7, trying to get to the next round.
Assuming Steph Curry is back, and he suffered a hand injury, right? It's not like he's a debilitating back injury.
There was some nerve damage in there.
Okay.
It's a little tricky. But
he looks pretty good shooting half-court shots.
He does that.
Okay,
yes.
so we can assume he's a 2-time MVP.
Yes.
He's a first-ballot Hall of Famer.
Yes.
He's only 30 years old. He'll be fine.
Yes. Well,
okay.
I really, honestly, I believe this is the element that people are sleeping on a little bit, is that when Kevin Durant came in, there's been a residual effect on Clay, on Steph, and Draymond. They're not the same player. They weren't the same players last year.
No question.
That they were
and
2-3 years ago.
And the league has adjusted.
And the league's caught up.
Correct.
They don't have that shock value of the way they play. So there's some intangible elements of what the cost of the 5-year run was physically,
right,
even on the studs, that I don't think that people are taking into account, that bringing Kevin Durant in camouflaged all of that.
There's no question. Like, look, I've said this on this show, and KD's doing himself no favors with his comments. But I believe that as much as Kevin Durant needed the space that Golden State created, so he could show that he was the best scorer, they needed him
100%, because
the league was catching up. And because he was not only an elixir on offense, he was a magic eraser on defense, because he could hide Steph Curry defensively, whereas others simply could not. I do want to ask you about Kevin Durant, and now he's saying, "Look, I was going to leave Oklahoma City all along. I was going to leave the Warriors all along, and I'm going to keep the burner account."
Yeah.
So everything he said previously was BS, and now he's telling the truth, and he's not going to hide from the. What's your read on KD?
It's going to be different tomorrow. Like
These two are made for each other, right? You got Kyrie Irving, who thinks he's the smartest guy on earth, who no one can stand, but he's crazy talented.
Yeah.
And you got Kevin Durant, who, by all accounts, is a great dude.
Yeah.
Okay? But he just can't help himself on social media and keeps trying to explain why he did what he did 5 years ago, last year, whatever. They're great players, but man, they can't help themselves.
KD doesn't. I get the sense that KD doesn't like this description, but KD is really still trying to figure out who he is.
Yes,
and Kyrie Irving is too. Kyrie Irving just is adamant that he already knows exactly who he is, and so he plays it a little bit different. But they're in the same boat, and this pairing is more talented. I hate to make the comparison, but this pairing scares me as the nucleus of a team almost as much as Karl Anthony Towns and DeAngelo Russell scare me as the nucleus of a team. Not quite as much. The Minnesota pairing, to me, is a disaster waiting to happen. But this is not that far apart.
The Knicks have Leon Rose running their basketball franchise now. Would they have gotten at least an interview with Kevin? Would it have changed? Because I believe they did it because, look, last summer they couldn't even get an interview and a dinner with Kawhi and with Kevin Durant. That's what this is about, right?
Well, that's what this is about. That is what this is about. I'm at the point now where everybody wants to, who's Leon Rose and what are his management skills, and can he finally be the elixir that gets them there? Jim Dolan never hands over the keys to the car. He says he's handing over the keys to the car.
I disagree. He did it to Isaiah, and Isaiah ran it into the gutter. He did it to Phil Jackson. He ran in the gutter.
No, you cannot. It is impossible to separate what the decisions that are being made by the person who's in charge and the decisions that Jim Dolan says, I want you to do this. It happens. It has happened. It will continue to happen. And it's just, there's no way around it.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.